The Cleveland Cavaliers have built a summer league squad full of interesting prospects. Each member of the roster is fighting for their NBA life, but their dedication toward winning as a team has led to some of the most cohesive basketball we have seen in Las Vegas. Names like Sam Merrill, Isaiah Mobley, Amani Bates, and Sharif Cooper have impressed me enough to warrant a full video earlier this week. But one player in particular has left me dumbfounded, and that's Craig Porter Jr. He put up 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in an all-around dominant performance to lead Cleveland over Chicago and extend their record to a perfect 4-0 this summer. And Porter did this as the primary ball handler to close a tight game, as Merrill and Cooper were both on the bench. I just really can't understand how this guy went undrafted. I realize older prospects tend to fall in the NBA draft, and Craig Porter Jr. is 23 years old, making him the same age as Darius Garland and a year older than Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro, but Porter clearly has NBA-level athleticism, a fantastic feel for the game, and has committed himself to doing all of the little things that make a difference on the court. The only real concerns I've heard about Porter are his size, lack of volume scoring, and limited ceiling, considering his age and time spent in the NCAA. While Porter is listed at 6'2", he seems taller and lankier than that measurement suggests, and his jumping ability more than makes up for any doubts about his size. As for his lack of volume scoring, his efficiency reassures me Porter can establish himself as a productive player even if he isn't scoring in bunches on a nightly basis. The limited ceiling is a valid concern, but there's only so many superstars in the world anyways, and Porter seems like he has already built the foundations of a quality role player. So let's talk about Craig Porter Jr. and why he shouldn't be flying under the radar for much longer. Before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and stick around, as I plan on doing more breakdowns about different players throughout the offseason. Any support is appreciated. One of the first things that becomes apparent when watching Porter is how well-rounded his game is. He's checked off every fundamental box, serving as the total package on both ends of the floor. Porter became the first player in Wichita State history to lead his team in rebounds, blocks, assists, steals, and total points during his senior season. He's a rebounding, playmaking, pull-up shooting, defensive-oriented guard who is willing to do whatever it takes to win a game. And while it's entirely possible Porter could end up being a jack-of-all-trades, master of none, his malleability to the NBA should have everyone excited about his potential to be an outstanding role player in the future. Porter is an aggressive rebounder for his position, showcasing effortless leaping ability when pounding the glass. He reminds me of Rajon Rondo or even Russell Westbrook in the way he tracks down these boards. And while I'm not at all projecting him to be that caliber of player, Porter himself has said Rondo was one of his favorite players to model his game after while growing up. And Porter is as solid as they come on defense. He does a respectable job of keeping his man in front of him at the point of attack, but he truly shines as a help defender. Porter has a sixth sense and can leap into passing lanes or explode on the backside to reject defenders before they see him coming. He was strangely one of the best shot blockers in college last season, and so much of this can be accredited to his feel for the game, and Porter has the ultimate confidence in his ability to get a stop on anybody at any time.
If you got the heart to do it, it's almost anybody I feel like I could guard and stop. I mean, if you put me up against anybody, honestly, I feel like I could get a stop or a block on him. So, I mean, it's really like you said.
It's always reassuring when a prospect enters the NBA with defense as their top priority, and it's clear when listening to Porter talk that winning is the only thing that matters to him, not scoring points or individual stats. He's an unselfish ball handler who has shown some elite court vision in his time at Wichita State and in the Summer League. Porter understands how to read a defense and is constantly probing to get his teammates open. I really like his patience on this play, as he uses his dribble to preoccupy multiple defenders, and then quickly zips a pass to the corner once he realizes everyone is worried about Mobley's roll to the hoop. Porter has a shifty dribble and changes speed with ease, going from quick bursts to sudden stops that allow him to pick apart a defense. As for his own scoring ability, he's a dazzling finisher in the paint and efficient pull-up shooter. His footwork is really smooth, and he does a great job of contorting his body to get into the paint and finish around defenders. This spin move is a masterclass in footwork and body control. Porter also has no problem making contested shots, shooting 36% from deep on almost entirely pull-up three-point attempts. Porter ranked in the 83rd percentile as a pick-and-roll ball handler, the 82nd percentile for pull-up shooting, and the 77th percentile when finishing layups. And a quick shout out to Everything Cavaliers on Twitter for their thread pointing out these statistics. I also want to reel this back in and add some context that could explain why Porter went undrafted despite all of these positive indicators. For starters, he's only measured at 6'2", and his athleticism will look less spectacular when he's matched up against the greatest basketball athletes in the world. I don't imagine Porter will be catching as many opponents by surprise with his weak side blocks once he gets to the NBA. And while his pull-up shooting is promising, he hasn't done it with much volume or really established himself as an off-ball threat. Porter doesn't seem like he's a sleeping superstar waiting to burst onto the scene, but when you look at the full picture and all of the things that he can provide, it's hard not to get excited. Whether or not Porter can become truly elite at any particular skill, or just polish his existing game to the point where he's a reliable backup point guard, I really feel confident saying Porter is going to find a home in the NBA at some point. At least, I'm as confident as you can be about an undrafted prospect. It's likely Porter will spend some time in the G League this year, and if he remains in Cleveland, Porter would be joining a great group of guys with the charge. I think the Cavaliers' backup point guard position is one that could become available as Ricky Rubio nears the end of his NBA career. And in that case, Porter has an avenue to being an impactful role player on a competitive team right in front of him. It's unclear how quickly he can seize this opportunity, but one thing's for sure, I'll be rooting for Craig Porter Jr. That's going to do it for this video. Again, if you're new to the channel and want to see more coverage of the Cavaliers, I'll be continuing this series throughout the summer and possibly even covering other players across the NBA if that's something you'd like to see. But for now, thanks for watching and go Cavs!